Hello and welcome to Getting Candid with me, your girl Helen. I hope you guys have been subscribing to the channel and telling your friends to come to the channel and watch this and subscribe and turn on the bell so that you don't miss out on anything that we upload. Today my guest is a very inspirational, motivational speaker, a public speaker, an award-winning author, and a health practitioner. I'm talking about Isaac Pomboloka. He was recently trending for holding awards called the ADAP 4.0 Awards and Summit, heavily attended. I just want to know everything about him, where it started from, what motivated the awards, and all the great things that we see him doing on social media. Join me on the other side as I chat with him. Welcome back, and joining me right now is Mr. Isaac Pomboloka. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
First time we're meeting, right?
Yes. First time we're meeting in person, even though we follow each other on social media.
Yes.
You know, I always think people that do great things, usually their names don't sound so ordinary.
Okay.
I don't know if you've observed
But
that.
you've been doing great things, and your name Zulu is so ordinary. So what are you trying to say?
No, come on, don't say my name is ordinary. I mean Zulu, our history is rich.
Come on.
So we carry something.
Zulu, Piri, those names
Oh,
from
we're
Sparta.
special. We're special people.
Not at all. You people just wake up and name.
No, you know, that's a problem when you have a Bemba man who is doing something great, because they want to shoot us down. But I'll tell you what, like certain names, they just, like, you'll never just hear them anyhow. And the time you hear them, you hear this proper story coming with it. And like Pomboloka it's not a common name. It's not a common, it literally sounds funny, but...
Pomboloka, right?
Hey, that's what it literally means, right?
Yeah, that's what it literally means. So actually, back then, I spent much of my time growing up in the village. The first time I came in town was in 2007.
Long.
Yes, the very first time I actually visited Lusaka was in 2016. I spent, I think, 3 weeks in Lusaka. Then I actually came in Lusaka, like, let me just start living in Lusaka. It was 2021. So back in the village, someone would tell me, like, you know, that name that you carry, we only see those names in the book. So one day you should write a book. And that also just more like gave me some kind of motivation that I had. I was like, one day I should write a book. And it came to pass.
No, but you know, when I was reading that you grew up in the village, I didn't think you came like in 2016. So you were staying in the village all this time?
So I used to stay in the village up to 2007. Then I came, I started staying in Wansha. Then in Lusaka, I first visited Lusaka in 2016. Then I relocated to Lusaka in 2021, somewhere there.
2016 in Lusaka, and they're taking over the city, doing great things. That is amazing, though. That is amazing. And I'm now thinking this is probably where adapt comes from. How did you quickly adapt to Lusaka life?
Yeah, it was quite challenging. Especially that, you know, Lusaka is not a cheap place to live in. Yeah. It's kind of an expensive place, especially comparing to where I'm coming from. Even Luansha is not that an expensive place. Even Matipa in Northern Province definitely is a rural setup, and the place is cheap. Yeah. So I came to realize that if I have to survive Lusaka life, there were certain skills that I definitely needed to learn. And I realized that the skills that I was using to survive in the village, the skills that I was using to survive in Luansha, and the knowledge that I used to survive in those places was totally different from the knowledge that I needed to survive in Lusaka. Yeah. And that is why much of the concept and the lessons that I share in my books that I write and adapt inclusive is ideally based on the fact that what worked for you yesterday is not going to work for you tomorrow. And what was a fact to yesterday might not be real today. But that means that it was wrong yesterday. So it has taught me how to survive and be able to actually learn new things, be able to learn and meet new people in whichever environment that I find myself. I'm
curious to know how your life was like in the village. Because to have such a mindset, maybe your parents, I don't know who played a role, but how was your life like? What village was it?
Matipa village. Okay, so here is the thing that used to happen, right? So I'm coming from a family of 13, and out of 13, 7 have died. We're a family of twins, and I grew up as the last born from the family of 13. Actually, my dad is 94 years old.
Really? And he's still alive?
And he's still alive. And he likes suits as well. That's where I take from. And I grew up from a family of Jehovah's Witnesses. So at a tender age, my dad would actually read me a lot of stories from different books. And one thing that I loved most is whenever he's speaking, especially in church and trying to preach and everything, the way he used to come out. Yes.
Okay.
He's actually been an elder for Jehovah's Witnesses for the past 50 years now. So as I was growing up, that actually formed more like the basis of some of the things that I grew up to love, such as public speaking, writing, reading, and etc. So he just used to tell me, as a Kasoli, as a last born, and you have the privilege of like you're spending much of the time with him. And he used to tell me stories of what town life looked like, because he used to work for the council in Chingola, and when he retired, he decided to settle in the village. So he would just tell me about beautiful stories about town life and everything. And I was like, wow, I think town should be paradise. And one day, I will definitely go back where you came from so that I can maybe kickstart my career from there. So that environment in Matipa village, much of it was some kind of underdeveloped community. It's a typical village setup. And most of the surviving, and if we have to play and everything, we used to, we would be in the bush if we're not doing farming. Bicycles was the mode of transport. It was a mode of transport. And much of the time, those are some of the things that actually founded the basis of the things and the person that I am today.
Nice. Oh, that is great. Now, I want to know the first time you visited 2007 when you left the village.
Yeah.
What was the motive? Had you completed high school or?
I had completed grade 7 by then, and if I remember very well, I should have had 742 points.
Wow.
But as in a village, you are the highest and you are the most celebrated guy by then.
I mean, it's very difficult for people in the village to get such points.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the moment I just got my grade 7 results, the first thing which was in my mind was like, I need to go back. I need to go to town so that maybe from grade 8 to grade 9 and going forward, I should go and start from there. Yeah. So that is how in 2007 I made a bold move. Of course, a lot of people are telling me, please wait until you reach grade 12 so that you can go. But the thing is that by that time I was, I'd already passed puberty. Yeah. And the setup that we used to have in the village is that the moment you have puberty, I already had a farm, I already had some kettles that used to have those things. The only thing which was left is for us, okay, let's find a wife and whatnot so that this person can start a family. Yeah. If you go back, actually, most of the people I used to call my best friends right now, they are big family men. Like they have big families. Like maybe if you ask how many kids you have, 7 kids and what. Wow. So that's the kind of arrangement I was trying to escape from, because at an early age, the stories that used to tell me has instilled a certain dream and vision in me. And that is something that I wanted to pursue. And I knew that location was very important at that particular time. The thing that I wanted to do, I couldn't have done the thing that I wanted to do in that kind of a place.
You already had like an open mind.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I exactly knew that this life is not the life that I want. So I knew that if I had delayed to say in grade 12, that's when I'm going to go, by now I could have been maybe by Shimpundo or something, or, but I decided to take a bold move and relocated in 2007.
Yeah, wow. How was it? First time relocating. Who are you staying with?
I was staying with my sister. So
your sister had already left the village.
My sister had already left the village. And our elder sister, our firstborn, was also staying in Wansha. So when I came, I started staying with my sister in Ndola, in Lubuto, and later on I relocated. I started staying with our elder sister in Wansha. So it was quite like everything was strange. Like, as a village boy with a village accent, with big eyes, and every time I opened my mouth, people start laughing at me to say, you can't even talk English properly. At least I've learned even how to speak proper English. I can communicate effectively. But that was not the case, because where I was coming from, I grew up like, even our teacher who was teaching us English was teaching us in Bemba. And I was going to a Jehovah's Witness, which was a Bemba congregation. And Jehovah's Witness with that kind of deep Bemba. So I was like a typical village boy who is trying to actually find his voice and a place in town life. It was difficult. I developed low self-esteem because whatever I would do, people correct me to say, no, this is not how we do this. It was like a process where I have to start learning new things, and it was quite challenging.
But of course, switch.
Yeah, it was more like a total switch. You've spent almost all your time, you've never seen electricity, you've never seen a fridge. The only cars that we used to see, most of them, there were those big canters and whatnot. Everything became strange. Like, everything became strange. If I had to watch a TV where I was in Matipa, we have to go, if there is someone who used to happen, there was a businessman who was happening, and they had those kind of TV station and whatnot, we would definitely go there so that we can be on the standing on the window so that we can just watch even football, wrestling or something. But I came to a setup where everything seemed new, and it was quite very difficult for me. I developed some kind of serious low self-esteem, because almost everything that I was being criticized. Everything I do, someone was there to correct. Every sentence that I say, someone was like, I'm RIO syndrome. You know what I mean, right? So it was challenging. And here's the boy who is trying to establish himself as a business person, trying to pursue the career, and here's the boy who is trying to actually say, one day I'm going to write books. And I knew that I can't write books if I don't know how to communicate effectively to the public. So those things seem to like, I started having more like an identity crisis, and it was not an easy time.
How did you get out of it?
Yeah, so that was where the interesting part is. So when I left Ndola, I started living in Luansha. My sister, by then the husband had died. And I was hoping that she's going to take me to school so that I can start grade 8 in 2008. That didn't work. My elder brother was also in school. A lot of people were in school. And they told me to say, you know what? You need to wait for at least 2 years so that we can stabilize and we're going to take you to school. This is the boy who loves school. This is the boy who came in town to pursue that school dream and everything. It was deep. And by the way, I'm the last born. And you know, so you get the point. So I just need the attention, yes. And I'm used whenever I want something. Dad and mom, they're already there too. But here I am, they are back in the village, and and they're telling me to say, you need to put your dreams on hold. It was quite a difficult time for me. So what used to happen is that I would step by the gate, trying to remember, I wish I was just in the village. I wish I was in Matipa. You know, I would be by the gate, you know, watching and admiring kids as they are coming back to school and whatnot. And I started making them my friends. And most of the times I would go there, I get some books, you know, about the essays, the mathematics and everything, and I'll start reading on myself. That was the most powerful and important phase of my life, actually. So as I started reading, I realized that actually I can teach myself these things. I don't need a teacher. And 2 years passed, and when it was time for me to write grade 9 examination, I called my brother who was in his soccer.
Yeah.
I said, I want to write grade 9 examination. They said, what are you going to write? Just wait. I said, I've been studying, I've been reading.
Yeah.
And guess what? I was given a spot there. Because there was a teacher there, it helped me to talk to a few people there. And when I was given a spot, when results came, I was the highest at Chwanda Basic School in 2009.
How many points?
I should have had like 532
wow.
something.
Wow.
Yeah, at grade 9. And that period when results came, that was when I regained my confidence. I started realizing that actually I'm my own teacher.
Yeah.
And I started realizing that actually most of the things that we would want to do, we don't just do them, not necessarily because they are not resources, but because of lack of resourcefulness.
Yeah.
That is one of the best transitions, and it just made me regain confidence that even in my darkest moments, even when I feel like I'm alone, there are so many things that I can just do by myself.
Wow. Oh, that's a story that a lot of us can learn from any aspect of our lives. That's a big lesson, and I can imagine the shock even with your family members when they saw the results.
All of them, they were shocked.
Yeah. So how did you pick your career? You said, okay, I'm going to be a health professional.
So another interesting fact, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Uh-huh.
And I pushed myself. Of course, things was also difficult to start my grade 10. I had to start, I think, in second or third term, if I'm not mistaken. But I pushed myself because I learned the habit of actually pushing myself. I had already started going through reading and whatnot. When I joined my grade 10, when resources became available, it was easy for me to actually transition because I was getting some books like what I used to do back then. So what happened now is that after pushing myself, I started competing with grade 12s when I was in grade 10. If you go in Luansha at Ronan Topois, one of the biggest schools there, they'll tell you to say, he was a very brilliant, I've left a great record there. Now, I pushed myself because I wanted to be a medical doctor, and I was told to say, only people with flying colors does medicine. Now, what started happening is that I started participating in just activities because maybe I might get a scholarship. So I participated when I was in 2011. I competed with grade 12s at that time. I hammered all of them in Luansha. I hammered all of them in Copperbelt. But when it was time to go to Hillcrest to compete, someone had to beat me, and they were only picking one. So I was like, I have another year. I'm competing with grade 12s. Let me just give it a try. Let me focus on my work so that I can compete in grade 12. So grade 12 came. I hammered Luansha. I hammered Copperbelt. Again, someone hammered me. It was a dream shut down.
Yo.
To make matters worse, when results came, I had 8 points. I was doing pure mathematics. I was doing also pure sciences and whatnot. I had 8 points. I applied to CBU so that I can do medicine. I was rejected to say we only want someone with 7 points. If it's a lady, we want them with 8 points.
Yeah.
Again, I appealed because the people I was with, I was the highest at my school, and the people I was with were being accepted in the same natural school, school of natural sciences, CBU. I reapplied, I reappealed. Again, I was rejected. I was depressed. You know, you're coming from the village, you've put in everything that you wanted to put in so that you can have this thing, and that was the only chance that I had. Scholarship, I lost it, and again, I felt like my dream was shut because I was unable to get a bursary. My family were unable to sponsor me to do the medicine that I wanted. Yes. It was a difficult period. In 2 months that followed, I don't even remember the time, how many times I bathed. I locked myself in the room and I was crying and asking myself what went wrong. I felt like everything has gone to waste. But my brother was doing a degree in medicine, in nursing by then. I'd already completed and he was working and he was posted to Sore's nursing school. So he tells me to say, Isaac, I think we can sponsor you so that you can go and do nursing and then you're going to take it up from yourself. Imagine I'm going to certify my grade 12 results. You know, this Catholic priest looks at them and was like, why are you taking these results? And I say, I'm going to do nursing at Mukinge in Kasempa. And he looks at me to say, young man, why are you wasting your results? You know, I'm going to a profession and I feel already like, I'm already depressed. It's not something that I want to do. Already people are telling me to say, like indirectly telling me to say, no, people only do those things we want to do, and the people don't have good results. But when I went there, actually, I realized that actually we have some of the brightest nurses that have been there. I did my nursing from there, and it was in that period where I did a lot of introspection. And as I interacted with medical doctors and a lot of people from there, I actually realized that I never even wanted to be in the hospital at all. You get the point, right? So, you know, Mukinge and Kasempa is a place, it is surrounded by beautiful hills. So I developed the habit of going into the hills, trying to just think and introspect. That's where I wrote my first book called Limitless. Yeah, that book has won an award in Africa at the continental level. That book has actually been read like in over now 20 countries. I wrote it when I was a student nurse. Wow. It was titled Limitless, but by then I didn't have limited money to publish the book. You get the point?
What did they say? You spoke it into existence? Yeah, whatever you wanted,
that's the thing.
You wanted was...
And I think I came to understand more about myself. I got clarity about the things that I wanted. I also came in contact for the first time with something that makes me tick. Like something that just makes me have the confidence and the energy that I need to do and pursue the things that I've actually been pursuing. So it was in those times that I actually discovered myself.
Wow. Powerful, powerful story. So now I'm listening to your story and I'm laughing because was it last week or the other week when I read on social media somebody saying Isaac is lying, that he's never even studied any nursing.
Oh yeah. I actually saw
where
those
did that
stories.
come from?
I don't even know it. I think it came from Alan the degree holder. I think some people were saying, no, Alan the degree holder doesn't even have a degree or something. Then all of a sudden I go online, some people are calling me to say, you are trending somewhere. Yeah. Then all of a sudden I go online, then people are saying, no, he has never done any nursing program and whatnot. And I think it's understandable because wherever I go, like last year when I was in the US, I was speaking at World Bank. Okay, and the first thing, the senior human resource recruitment officer at World Bank came to me after doing the presentation on transformational leadership. She asked me to say, are you sure you are a nurse? Yeah. And I get those questions almost every day because the kind of things, the kind of knowledge and everything that actually base what my activities currently are things that are a bit far away from the nursing profession, and they are a bit that they are things that are actually focusing more on my professional growth, my professional development, and how I've decided to be upskilling myself going forward. So quite a lot of people tend to ask me to say, are you sure you're a nurse? Or which nursing did you do? Because it's like you are out of the country and out of the country almost every time. And these organizations are
you have worked with organizations like USAID, PEPFAR. How has that been for you?
It was an experience that that has been amazing because it has been helping me to actually find an escape from practicing direct in the hospital. I have practiced in the hospital, and I once worked in the government, and later on I started working in with private hospitals and then the NGO spaces now. Yeah. And I've worked with some of the best NGOs, not just in Zambia, but even like from the US as well, around health. So that has also more like given me the basis for my interaction, for my networking, as well as to help me be able to develop the capacity to even handle and perform or even like implement some other projects of my own as well.
Tell us about eCare.
So eCare is a platform which stands for electronic care. So eCare is a platform which I started working on last year when I was in US. I met this professor at Howard University in US, one of the best universities in the US. So she's a professor of public health. So she was trying to talk about how best we can help people, especially in the mental health sector, especially in Africa. We have about over 100 million people actually reportedly going through depression in Africa. And the larger percentage of them are actually women. But the thing is, when you look at just here in Zambia, the number of mental health specialists that we have, and the number of health specialists that we have, it is actually limited. So we are trying to find a way in which we can actually enhance the uptake of mental health services, not just in Zambia, but in Africa as well. So I decided to come up with a platform which is going to connect mental health professionals, even if they are limited, to a wider audience of people so that they also can be able to get the services that they need, especially around mental health. Then that was just an idea which was perfected, and later on we said, let's create a digital platform where people, health professionals, can log in and make money as they offer their services. So we are trying to address the levels of unemployment because the people are able to make money. It's like Yango.
Yeah.
You get it? It's like the way Yango staff is working.
Brilliant.
They're able to make money by offering a service and etc. That's how it's making. But in turn, we're also serving a broader audience of people who would love to be connected to specialized and licensed health professionals. So you can be able to book a nurse. Let's say you are sick, maybe your family is
visited
far.
the website and because I was curious and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, so you can book a nurse even at the middle of the night. You just click there and say, I want a nurse to be able to attend to me. You can do that. You can book a physiotherapist. Maybe you are tired. Maybe you want someone who is licensed and trained to do a physio. And there are no happy endings there. Our people are professional.
I wanted to ask, are you sure we can trust everybody that we're going to book
online? Our people are very
Yeah.
professional, licensed, and we have done the due diligence before anyone is allowed to actually do those things.
That's very important.
Yeah.
That brilliant. Really, after I was like going through and seeing what you've done, I can say we are just yet to see what you're going to give us, because these are very brilliant ideas.
Yeah.
You've won so many awards. Which one of them do you hold dear to your heart?
Africa Healthcare Professionalizing Star.
Why?
So what happened is that when I was shortlisted for that award, there is no voting.
Okay.
There was no voting, and it is more like it's a continental award. And the organization which hosts those awards is based in the US, Zenith Global Health. So when I was shortlisted, they sent me an email, you've been nominated for this award. When I looked at the people who were nominated on my category, there were professors, doctors, and the only name which had a Mr. to it was my name. Then I was like, from different countries. I was like, wow. So when I reached the award ceremony, I knew that I'm not going to get that award because there were professors, there were doctors, and everything. People have done amazing things. You get the point, right? And here is just a nurse. And I said, the tables, it was attended by a lot of ambassadors, health ministers from different African countries, powerful people. I was like, I can't just lose an award and I lose food. Where big people are.
Just eat.
Before I can even get a piece of chicken, I saw a boy with big eyes projected on the screen. When I looked at it, someone who was seated next to me was a doctor from UK, says, we're in the same category, says, Isaac, that's you, you've won an award. I was speechless, and I went there. And I didn't even know what to say, and it was an amazing experience. But later on, I was curious. I went to the organizer and says, I think there were powerful people who deserve that award. Why did you give it to me? Yeah. And they told me something that has been life-transforming. And they said, we know you've been doing nursing, you've built yourself a good experience, but when we look at the extracurricular activities and programs that you've been implementing and you've been doing, we looked at all the people that are there, and there are very few people who had the record of creating, impacting the lives of people outside the hospital.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And it kept me thinking up to now to say, there are so many people who are so vested in academic qualifications such that they have forgotten the true meaning of life, and that is living for impact. So each and every day now, I live a life in such a way that instead of just me preparing for the university, whatever I need to upskill my school, I always tell people to say it's important to prepare for the universe, because the universe has a lot of problems that you can be part of as the solution. And the more you solve those problems, the more value that you have, and the more you develop your value. And I always tell people to say, as you develop your value, there is only one thing which is going to sustain that value. Only one thing. You can develop the value by the number of problems that you are solving for people, and you'll be awarded for that. I receive questions, people telling me to say, how can I get as many awards as you? How can I travel the country like you? I tell people to say the value of life lies in its donation, not in its duration. It's not about how long you live, it's about how much of yourself you donate to humanity. And people, when they see how much you are giving to humanity, they will definitely be able to reciprocate. It might not be people, but the universe is created in such a way that he who gives their level best to humanity will never lack anything. He who is exceptional and outstanding at what they do, the universe always creates a better way of reciprocating the efforts of those people. So people, whenever they're actually talking about that and we're talking about those awards, I always tell people to say there is only one way you can actually maintain your relevance. We've had people who were happening back then, right? And now they are no longer happening. Why? Because they developed their value, but they failed to sustain the value. Because sustaining someone's value lies in how well you
adapt. I like that.
So value is developed by the number of problems you solve,
Yeah.
right? But if you want to sustain it, you need to keep on evolving. For example, Nokia, you know that Nokia was a toilet company, was making toilet paper.
Really?
Yes. So the first, Nokia is a US company, okay? When it was started, there was a river in US called Nokia Veta. So the first plant which was making toilet paper was actually there. That's why they called the company called Nokia, from the river which was there. That was their second plant which was making toilet paper. So when technology and internet came, they said, let's find a way in which we can actually address this issue also. Let's start making phones. And they became big in terms of making phones. And later on, they lost because of coming of Android and whatnot. Some years back, the Nokia CEO cried when he was asked to say, why have your company gone into liquidation? He cried, telling journalists to say, we didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we have lost. No, they did something wrong. They were adapting very well, but during the coming of Android, they failed to adapt. And therefore, they were outshined by Samsung and Apple. But right now, you know that most of the 5G networks that we're having is being pioneered by Nokia?
Oh, no.
Yes.
No,
actually, the 5G network that you see now is being pioneered by Nokia. So they have actually not much into now manufacture phones, but they have tried because of the coming of artificial intelligence. They thought they can be more valuable when they go into the space of providing the fastest network in the world. And actually, they're doing fine. Very soon, Nokia is going to come on the market. Why? They were able to adapt.
Yeah.
Now, I'm actually giving you this book.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the pen as well, Adapt 4.0.
Yes, thank you so much. And Pomboloka is there.
I'm going to sign it for you.
You need to sign it. Yeah. You know, there's something, that's my camera. When I was looking at this cover and I'm like, why a chameleon? Then I realized, obviously it's about adapting, yes?
Yes.
We need to be like a chameleon.
Yeah.
This is powerful.
Yeah. You see, the chameleon is able to adapt and fit into the environment it finds itself into.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's the biggest problem that we have right now. We have people who are failing to actually change from one environment to the next. For example, the history of civilization, we have had about 4 stages of human civilization. The first one, people are chasing after animals. We call it the hunter-gatherer stage. Mm-hmm. So people will be chasing for animals, and when they find where they can get some crops, they'll be eating those crops there, right? But they became bigger in population, and it posed as a threat for wild animals because wild animals can attack them. What did they say? Let's find a way we can localize ourselves at one particular place. They entered an age of agriculture. They said, let us domesticate animals, let us also grow our plants to feed the population so that we protect ourselves. So that is why that age which followed was called the agrarian age, from the word agriculture. Now, that agriculture, again, the population became bigger. And they needed to find a way of producing food and processing food at a faster rate to feed their population. Yeah. They said, what are we going to do? Let's enter into another age, which is called the industrial age. They resorted to machines to process maize, machines to process their animals' meat and everything. So in the industrial age, the Wazungus needed people so that they can actually take over the jobs in there. You get the point, right? More industries, but very few people were educated, especially in Africa. That is why the educational system, the Perusian educational system we're using right now, was developed so that it can discipline you. That is why you say, which discipline have you studied? Yeah. It can discipline you to work in the industry. Now, what has happened right now is that we are no longer in the industrial revolution. Yeah. We are in the digital 4.0 revolution. Yeah. That is where the book comes from, Adapt 4.0. We're in the 4.0 revolution. Now, the most interesting thing is that people are telling our parents to say they lied to us. because they were telling to say, go to school, get a job.
Yeah.
No, they didn't lie. What was true yesterday might not be true today. And what is true right now, even what I'm saying right now, even tomorrow, it might not be what? But it doesn't mean that I lied. Things have changed. The problem is that people want to be using an updated version of iPhone 15 Pro Max on an outdated version of their mindset, outdated version of their skill. And it doesn't work that way. The call to action in that book is that as things evolve, we need to adapt.
Yeah, oh, this Bemba man can talk. But talking a lot of sense, that is.
Definitely.
I want you to sign the book now, and while you're signing, just tell us a little bit about the Adapt Awards as we close, and the summit as well.
Okay, so let me sign it for you.
This will be my next read.
Yeah? Today is 27th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So,
I'm
one
going
time,
to give a review.
Yeah, so one time, I was in DC, the capital of the US. So I was trying to explore how their city is created. I realized that that city was created by our forefathers. People were taking their slaves, including if you go at the Capitol, it's called, they call it the Capitol building, we can call it the Parliament or something. Yeah. There is more like a dome there, a very big, more like dome of steel. They failed to put it there. It is black people they code so that they can actually lift it up there. Now, the way the Washington, D.C. is structured, including most of the U.S. places, you find that from down there are a lot of train stations. And again, another level, you find that there are a lot of houses that's down there. So the planning, the architecture, the technology, and everything was just straight on point. Then, as I was coming back, I reached Zambia. And I feel like I'm back in the past, like I visited the future. Then I started thinking of a way, how can we first catalyze a process where we Africans can start thinking of adapting to this change? Because as far as I'm concerned, we have been waiting for people who are the pioneers of change to put change on us. As we speak on artificial intelligence right now, the best thing an average African is doing is to use AI platforms to create and cartoonize their face, to create, funny faces. That's the only thing that most of the things are doing. They don't know the potential of artificial intelligence. You get the point, right? So I started thinking, how can we create a platform where we can celebrate outstanding people who have been showing innovation and creativity in adapting to change? How can we create a platform where people who have been adapting well to change can come at the table and be able to share their knowledge and exchange best practices so that even you, in whichever field that you are in, you can be able to adapt? Then I said, let's call it Adapt Awards and Summit. So we just had our first ever. It was big. That was the first event this village boy called Dennis is actually having in Lusaka. And when you ask every person who attended there, the event was fully packed. It was big. It was amazing. And the awards was inaugurated. So I expect that to be a platform which will be growing each and every year so that we can be meeting with thought leaders, people, so that we can discuss how best we can keep on adapting to change. Because I believe that change only benefits people who are initiators of change.
Yo, I love that. I love that. And I hope these awards will go on annually, because it's a big thing that will benefit all of us that mean well. And we give you all the support that you need. Wishing you all the best. What's the next book you're writing? And should we expect any book to be launched sooner?
I'm not sure. On the next book, I'm not sure. You know what? It has taken me 4 years to actually write this book.
I saw you posted something about what you've done. Like you were ticking. So that's why I even saw the e-care.
There are 3.
So you ticked, you're now remaining with 3 that are blank, blank, blank.
Yes.
When is the next one coming?
I'm not sure.
I know you're not going to tell us what it is.
I'm not sure. I'm a person of instinct. I depend on my instincts very much. So whenever I'm given a go ahead. Actually, I wrote that book in 7 days, but the things I wrote are the things I've learned in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
The last book I wrote called Galactic Thinking was in 2019. The first book was in 2019, which was published. So I've written things I've learned. So that's what I do.
I'll start reading this book this week.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I can't predict the next thing that I'm going to work on.
Okay.
Yeah. But definitely you'll see it.
Okay. Thank you so much for the book.
Yeah.
I have something to read, and I know I'm going to learn a lot, and I'll be very motivated. Thank you so much, Isaac. This has been Isaac, an award-winning author, speaker, and a health practitioner doing great things. Follow his social media. Please give them your social media handles.
So on LinkedIn, Isaac Pomboloka. Actually, I spend more time on LinkedIn than on Facebook.
Yeah.
So on LinkedIn is Isaac Pomboloka. On Facebook, same name as well.
Okay.
I think all my
just these two.
yeah,
You
just
only
these
have
two.
two social media. Okay, cool.
Of course, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, but I'm more active on LinkedIn actually.
And LinkedIn and Facebook. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for coming through. I enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and
Yeah.
keep doing the great work that you are doing. We've been watching, we've been observing, and I'm so excited for the invitation that you extended to me.
Thank you. Thanks for honoring the invitation.
Yo.
Alrighty, so this has been your girl Helen. I hope you enjoyed this chat. I really, really enjoyed this chat. So much to learn, opening up my mind so much, and I can't wait to read this book. I'm definitely going to give a review. Bye-bye.